You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Josh Schaefer, Esquire.
You're back to Esquire. Did you get your law degree again?
Yeah.
They reinstated you?
An indictment is not a crime, Mike.
Wow, you're the one with the law degree. Wow. Okay.
I bought it legally from Buenos Aires.
I was going to say, are you going to do the community joke?
Yep.
I thought you got your degree from Columbia. Yeah, now I have to get one from America.
Exactly. I've been binge watching that again randomly.
I love that show so hard, but we'll have to talk about that another time. So, we are joined once again in the booth by...
1G Lau.
Hey, good to have you back once again. So
It's been such a long time.
It has been such a long time. The last one that we had with you, which was so long ago, we were discussing Mass Effect, and then afterwards we got talking about Mass Effect and how the combat is different from the other ones, and I'm still against the series because, oh boo, it has the same talking engine as other whatevers. So
It does.
Which is my problem. Like, sure, the shooting is different, but the engine in and around the game is exactly like everything that I've played before. It's Knights of the Old Republic, but instead of turn-based D20 combat, I'm getting some shooting, which maybe that's enough of a difference for some. It didn't feel like enough of a difference for me.
Well, no, the shooting's fine, but yes, I mean, once you're getting into the RPG segment of the game, it feels like every other BioWare RPG, which is a bonus for people who are expecting that. But yeah, it's always going to be the same thing, where someone's going to say something to you, and your response is, oh, that's really nice. Oh, I feel neutral about this. And fuck you, asshole. And everyone...
I think literally one of the choices at one point is that.
Yeah,
so.
no, and that is pretty much how BioWare games work. And you can go through, and, you know, sometimes they're conveniently color-coded, sometimes they're not, but you can literally just, in most of these games, you can actually go through and just pick the option for color code.
In
just
KOTOR, it was
spacebar through everything.
literally like Sith, Jedi, or neutral for most of the options in dialogue. And while they've gotten rid of those specific terms, it really does feel like that's how it works in most of the dialogue options.
It really is.
The blatantly good, the blatantly bad, and the I am indifferent to this, why are we talking about it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And when the thing is, when they deviate from that, then their core audience gets mad. Andromeda deviated from that. Andromeda said, you know what? You're going to end up being mostly a decent person. You're going to save this colony. You're obviously not going to just sit there and let it blow up. So in that case, most of your responses are going to tend toward, generally okay. Oh no, people did not like that. They were like, no, I want to tell everybody on this ship that I hate them and then save them.
Hey, blue person, fuck off. I'm going this way.
Yep. There are people who find this really important. Which, I mean, okay, I can see that, but my point is, BioWare has a brand, and deviating from it is...
Well, and some
bad
game
for
companies get crap for it, and I give BioWare crap for it because I've played this game. I've played this game so much that I can't get into Fallout because it feels like it's like the dialogue portions of that game mirror the BioWare style of it. But like Telltale got crap until they folded for the fact that they basically use the same engine for everything. And whether you've played the Minecraft or Back to the Future or Walking Dead, you've played their engine and you know exactly what you're going to be doing. You're going to get 4 options, almost like it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then you got to choose which option on the millionaire square you're going to follow for the plot line, and then it really doesn't matter most of the time anyway.
Yep.
Half the time you get eaten by a zombie, and the other half you actually get to do something, and that's Back to the Future. So...
I forgot that Telltale is gone.
Oh, yeah.
Did you play Tales of the Borderlands?
We had a discussion about that. We both tried it, and we just couldn't get into it. It's a Telltale game.
Since we're never getting another one, blowing through it is actually worthwhile because, A, it is actually really funny. The writing...
I think my wife's planning on doing it as a Twitch stream, and I'll probably just watch it at that point.
Okay, and just watch it. And then the way it shapes up, it dovetails really nicely with the rest of the Borderlands plot, and finishing it made me really want Borderlands 3.
Well... Yeah, I'm looking forward to Borderlands 3 or Borderland World or whatever they want to call it. But since we've talked Borderlands, we've talked Mass Effect, what we can actually talk about this podcast, now that we're 5 minutes in and we're finally getting around to it, shooting games.
You said it was okay to take tangents. I'm like, I'm all about tangents.
I am all for tangents. I just think that's the longest tangent we've had at the very start of the podcast yet, so congratulations. That was well done.
It wasn't really a tangent because we literally pushed stop on the last one, and we were talking about Mass Effect again, and then we hit the record
back
button.
into it because you had things on shooters. But... I don't know how much of actual shooting genre you guys have played on, because despite the fact that I suck at these games, I have played a surprising number of them. Wolfenstein and Spear of Destiny and all the damn Dooms and Rise of the Triad and a couple different Duke Nukems and so forth. I mean, there's more shooter games in the world than I could probably ever keep up with. And I've played I'd probably say the first 5 or 6 missions of about every single one of them before I got to a point where I couldn't get any further because the games are hard and I suck at shooting games. So Mass Effect had it. What do you guys feel, and either of you can start, is like the pinnacle of the shooting genre?
Gears of War 3.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, you got into the Gears of War games, didn't you, for a while there? You tried to get me into it.
Gears of War 3 just had... I'm not a big fan of first-person shooters.
Yeah. Was
like
that like a behind-the-back shooter?
Yep. Yeah. And it was easy enough where you didn't really have to pay too close of attention, but it had a...
Which is good, because we have bad attention spans here.
Exactly. But it was easy enough where you can do some sort of tactics. And it was hard, and the story was pretty complete, but the best part, and this kind of sounds like what Mass Effect 3's online is
the online multiplayer?
Yeah.
Where you team up on the arena?
Yep.
I played that with you. That was fun.
You had an arena and you had to build up your defenses.
Crazy
you could build
fun. Yeah.
like razor wire and things like that. And
it was like the horde comes in waves and you build up your traps in your base and upgrade them, and then you just try and fight them off. And if you have a good enough team with you, then you can like bunker down somewhere and really go to town on them. It was great.
It's like a
great
proto
fun.
Fortnite kind of a thing.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good. I tried to play Fortnite, and I don't get it. I'm sorry.
You're not 12.
I'm old.
Yeah, you're not 12. That's what it is.
We are aging out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I just don't. I tried so hard to like it, and I have friends at work that play it, and I just don't get it.
Mario and Zelda will always be for me, man.
And then if you're talking about first-person shooters, Halo 2 is my favorite.
I don't really have a preference on as to which one we talk about. But is it only Gears of War 3 that you like? Did you not like the rest of the series?
I couldn't get into 4,
Okay.
and then they had the I forget what it was called, but it was in between 3 and 4, like a 3.5 type thing. It wasn't done by
Oh, okay.
But Josette and I have my wife who was on other podcasts. For those who don't know who Josette is, once. But we used to play all the Halo games on Legendary together. That was our thing. And then,
Wow.
Yeah, so we're not.
I'm pretty certain I played it on Scrub.
We're not too bad, but. Halo 4 and 5 just sucked.
Well, because they didn't have Bungie involved, right?
I don't think so.
That was pure Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, it was just so boring. And then Gears of War 4 was kind of like we bought it and returned it the next day.
Wow.
Fallout 76 lasts longer. So.
Yeah, you did. You played that one longer. That's impressive.
2 days, yeah. Just didn't hook us.
And couldn't return it.
No, we did.
Did you?
Yeah.
76? Because that was an online game. I wouldn't figure they'd let you return that.
We had the discs, and they gave us... we bought the Tricentennial Edition, which was $80 each. Because, you get all the cool stuff. And as we previously discussed, I'm terrible with my money.
You kind of are.
And we paid for it on it. We pre-ordered and all that.
I was going to say, I love the Castlevania series, and I still wait until Lords of Shadows was, used for $15 a pop before I picked those up.
When it's an MMO, though... You want to get on the ground floor if you know.
I don't. I want to wait until it's been out for a couple years, so it's better patched and isn't a buggy mess.
Yeah. Well, now we know that Bethesda's not going to do anything.
I waited on Diablo 3 until it was out for a couple years because I trust Blizzard, and I still want to make sure it was properly patched.
I did.
So, yeah, you bought it 20 times.
As we also previously discussed.
But you can have a whole shelf of Diablo games. Look at that.
I don't even know where all of them are.
Oh, it sucks.
I still have my computer one somewhere.
I went on my way to try and make sure I got every edition for the 360 and the Xbox One of Borderlands and Borderlands 2, the disc versions of all the expansions, even though I already had the expansions and the collector's editions, simply because of the fact that I'm it's a new version. I must have it. This is a terrible waste of why am I doing this? But I did it.
So that's your primary first-person shooter, though, in Borderlands 2.
Oh, yeah.
But
it doesn't... It doesn't.
Oh no! It is absolutely.
Oh, it's absolutely a shooter. But it is a first-person shooter. But it doesn't feel as unforgiving as "quote unquote" real first-person shooters.
Well, it gives you. The way it's designed. It gives you an out no matter what. You've got you've always got the action skill, and it's always powerful enough to get you out of most situations. Well, such that you can slog your way through without dying.
There are easier and harder characters in that game because. We discussed during the Borderlands thing that there's, if you play on Borderlands 2, there's the Necromancer who was quote-unquote girlfriend mode as per the developers.
Right.
Or if you're like me, boyfriend mode because you suck. But there was more than just the Necromancer that was like that. The Commando and the Soldier in the first game and the first Siren, they all had action skills that could really get you out of any jam. Oh, you're getting blitzed? Just pop into phase walk and run away from everything and heal up for a little while. You'll be fine. Right. Hell, the phase walk will heal you and your shields will start charging while you're running. Simple. But there are other ones where if you really want to have a tough time, you'd play the Assassin or you'd play Brick in the first game. And those were definitely not action skills that would save you. Maybe you'd kill an enemy. More than likely, you'd just die and you had to be really good.
Or Claptrap.
In the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
Who was amusing as hell to watch and really obnoxious.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun in multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's how he's designed. And
because
it's good for a laugh.
He's supposed to have an action skill whenever you activate it that is suited to the situation you're in. So it's random. Right. But that randomness also means he's really unpredictable as to what you're going to get. And oftentimes, you don't get anything worthwhile. Although it's still amusing to see him enter into phase walk.
Yes.
Phase walk and scroll around. Love that. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
So but I mean, Borderlands is mine, and it is a very, even like just the basic shooting is very forgiving because I played I thought, hey, I made it through the first 2 Borderlands games. I'm pretty good at these. I decided to pick up Far Cry Blood Dragon. And I was destroyed in the second mission by that game. Like, okay, not playing this again. This is a fun game to watch. I'm gonna watch speed runs because this is not a game for me. Plainly, I needed you to play through that game for me.
I could have done that.
I'm sure you could have, because apparently you're good at them.
I play Overwatch like 2 hours a day.
Yeah, I played 2 hours with you, and that was as far as I went.
I'm so bad at multiplayer. Like at PvP, I'm the worst at PvP. Can't do it. I did that. At work, we had a group that played. What was that, Counter-Strike?
Oh, I was so bad at that game.
Worst at it. Like every time I would walk. All I would ever be able to do in that game was walk down a hall, because the moment I came in a corner and stuck my head around a corner, bam, I was dead. That was it.
I can't play Warzone.
Yeah, I can't. So the whole COD crowd, I can't do that
either.
Yep.
Yeah, I made it through Halo 2, and the only reason I made it through Halo 2 was because one of my friends carried me through it. And I don't even think we were playing on the hardest difficulty, but he dragged me through that, and I'd get halfway into mission, then I'd die, and then he'd try and get me to a respawn point so I could show up again. It was tragic.
I never got it through Halo 1. I think the problem was it was part of that generation of FPSs where something about the camera movement or the driving motion, that game made me ill just to play it.
Yeah, my wife was started having that issue. Yeah. It sucks. And yet somehow I'm really good at like the Left 4 Dead games. And those ones are not exactly forgiving. Those ones can be really wretchedly mean.
I think it's a different kind of strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Halo, you have to attack things, and they're fast-moving. And
I don't know. Left 4 Dead can be pretty rough. Like, if you don't move quickly enough, the zombies just horde on you because you've taken too long, and you're inevitably going to have to deal with a witch or a tank every time you're in a mission.
Sure,
but how important is it to be like a precision fast twitch shot as opposed to a strategic thinker?
Yeah. With the tanks, a lot. And actually but
when you have 4 people firing on one tank compared to the tank equivalent in Halo,
because
it's literally a tank.
Yeah, it is literally. I mean, there are parts of Halo I enjoy, but it's I played through 2 and I played through portions of 3, but it didn't strike me the way that some other shooters have.
No,
I mean, I think because in the end, Halo, it's still a shooter. I mean, the key is you have to place your crosshairs on a very precise spot and pull the trigger at exactly the right time, or you're not going to get ahead in the game.
Nope.
And
that was my problem with Blood Dragon, is there was no half measure with that. You either killed the guy or you died.
Right.
That was as far as that went.
Let's get back to Mass Effect for a second. I mean, if you want to do if you're a terrible shot in Mass Effect, you build yourself a spellcaster, and you're like, I'll just throw a fireball in general direction and it'll hit, or I'll build a melee and I'll just get up in someone's face, and you don't have to worry about being accurate. You can worry about the strategic side of thinking. How many seconds left do I have on my recharge for this? Where do I want to move? And that way you don't have to be precise at all, and you can be perfectly effective. In fact, oftentimes more than effective, without ever having to worry about whether your fast twitch skills are up to par with the nearest teenagers.
I mean, that was the credit I will give to Destiny, is that I quit that game because I was bored, not because the game got hard. The balance was there, that the shooting was hefty enough and I enjoyed it, and it was just strategic enough that I could do it. and the superpowers in that game honestly were piddly. I never enjoyed them. The shooting was more fun than actually using the superpowers in Destiny. But it was a thing about that game that I enjoyed what I was doing while I was doing it, but the grind of it just wore on me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not so fond of the grind. But no, you want to. I mean, if you really do things like that with a combination of superpowers and guns, you want to make sure they're balanced. You want to make sure that when you pick up a gun, it feels fun.
Yes.
And that you're getting something. You're getting a benefit out of it. That you get the visceral impact of, quote, shooting.
Well,
something.
I think that's part of the problem with Destiny was that I enjoyed the shooting while I was shooting stuff, but I could get gun upgrades and it never really felt that different.
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't get far enough into it, but I certainly wasn't going to. But
I feel like the enemies got harder and the guns just did more damage.
And it was just the same loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to credit it, I mean, Borderlands doesn't have that big a variety of guns in the long
No, but
run.
you have a gun that literally
yeah.
has swords that
Shoot
come
swords
out
out
of
of
Yeah.
it once you get to it.
And
Yeah.
you have and no, there's a huge variety. I mean, because within each class, you've got the elemental effects, and then all the various projectile effects, and you can.
Sure, but once you've so
But once you found the one you love,
well, but
you're
no,
not going to get
but it's
one.
also the thing of you get a Hyperion SMG. And you know how every Hyperion SMG is going to run. Now,
Right.
some of them might have less or more recoil. Some of them may have a larger clip. Some of them may have an elemental effect attached to them. But for the most part, unless you can find an orange, there's not going to be anything special. Once you know what a Hyperion gun does, you know all of them. It's the same with the Malawan. All their SMGs work the same. So you might occasionally get a weird variant. But for the most part, you've got like 5 producers of guns and 7 classes of guns. So that's 35 guns. It's a decent variety, don't get me wrong, but playing through 2, 3, 4 times on that, you know all the guns.
There's a bit more than that with because in 2 you got all the Iridium weapons.
Those are the basic ones.
Yeah, so but you the even at a pretty early stage in the game, you're pulling in the Iridium weapons, which means you get like the little plasma rifles in.
See, I never found that those guns were all that great.
Some of them are. And playing the
I need to give 'em more
playing the
chance.
Siren, there's a Molly. I ended up loving this Molly One plasma throwing SMG. It's crazy, awesome. But at the same time, there's always a use for a sniper rifle, like a good elemental sniper rifle. There's always
See, I always went with the Jacobs.
and there are
Yeah, because I can get in close and do some elemental damage. Like
Siren's got
some
bonuses
burn-
for the elemental.
Yeah,
damage,
she
though,
does.
So.
But it was like at a certain and for the Siren, of course, I relied on those. But when I was playing like my Commando or something, at a certain point, I was just like, well, I'm just gonna bust out my Jacobs like pistol and my Jacobs sniper rifle because they're way more fun. Right. Now, the thing I will say is that the elemental sniper rifle was super useful if you got the elemental Vladoff on your Gunzerker, because you just like I would bust out the Vladoff sniper rifle in one hand and like an SMG in the other, and it was just constant damage.
Triggers down.
Oh, it was so
Yep.
like I think what I'd do is I'd have that one, and then I'd have like a in second playthrough I'd have the slag gun on my second hand, and just the Vladoff would you'd slag it and the Vladoff would chew through everything. And because of the ammo recharge that the Gunzerker had, it was crazy. It was just not fair at that point until the enemies got too strong and my Gunzerker died.
Right.
And then I'm like, Psycho, come save me. So
And Borderlands and pre-sequel, you got the laser options, which again add a lot of variety. Not necessarily too much utility, but again they're interesting.
So where did you guys start with shooter games? Because my first one,
Wolfenstein.
I was gonna say Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein was my first.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Wow, this is way back when.
Yep.
So
Maybe
it would have been
Doom.
like 19. Actually, no.
93?
Doom was. I was there when Doom came out, but I was terrible at it. So I played like maybe one level. The first.
I had a friend pass it to me when I was in junior high, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like 5 floppies. He's like, install this.
The first shooter that I played through legitimately without cheating. So the first shooter
without
all the way through. Because the first one I played all the way through was Dark Forces, because I loved Star Wars
Yeah.
and I wanted to play it, but I couldn't play that. I couldn't play it well because
Turned on God mode. And,
turned on God mode. The game made me ill because back then everything was sprite based still.
Yep. Yeah.
And walking down the halls, as you walk by dead stormtroopers, their bodies turn.
Oh yeah, no, I remember doing that.
It made me ill.
That was my problem
every
with
time.
Doom. I loved Doom, although I couldn't play through it. I'd get 5 missions and be like, okay, time to turn on God mode because I suck.
Yep.
Yeah, but That was the thing. Like, the game looked so revolutionary until you'd played through just long enough that you started looking down at the enemies and turning and watching their bodies shift around you. And you're like, that's creepy.
Sound design was great though for that generation. I was like, wow, that was impressive. But the first one that I played through without cheating was Quake, actually.
Oh,
Quake was fun.
Quake was
Soundtrack by Trent Reznor.
Yep. Very atmospheric. No plot to speak of, but
no. They tried slapping plot onto the later games, and you're like, where'd this come from? This isn't like There was Quake 4 or Quake 4 Arena or whatever, where they're like, there's been this whole plot, and this is a sequel to the second, but not the third. Like, how am I even supposed to care about that? Like, why?
But even with Quake, it took me like 3 or 4 times longer to get through it than anyone else because I played through it very, very slowly.
Hey, that game has been out 25 years or so.
Each quarter, I'd sneak around, poke my head around. Hey, is there something here? Okay, shoot it one time. Okay, run away.
I'm
kill that one thing.
However long it took you, it's been 25 years and I still haven't gotten through it. So you've beaten me. Oh, well. Like, you can multiply however many times you have to for that.
And now it's like, it's by water stage, it's not even that long of a game.
No.
I mean...
No, because it's id
like
games, so it's what? 4 worlds and 10 missions or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because there's a formula to the id games. So...
But for the time, though.
Again, they were hell. Wolfenstein felt revolutionary when it came out, and it was a cruddy little VGA
you gotta shoot
shooter.
dogs, and I was like, I don't want to shoot the dogs. But
there was so much blood, and the Hitler bot. Oh, let me tell you, the Jewy me really enjoyed that.
Nothing is better than killing Nazis.
The game wasn't even really all that great when you go back to it. 4 guns and impossible to navigate, but you got to shoot Nazis.
Random
and that was fun.
hidden rooms for
that
no
made
reason.
No sense, and sometimes were necessary for you to finish the game. Oh, that was obnoxious. So you're just like going down every single wall, pushing buttons, trying to get something to open.
But yeah, after that, I didn't really play very many. Oh,
Duke Nukem.
System Shock 2.
See, that's
not necessarily a shooter, but
I think it counts.
It counts.
Yeah.
And that's a hell of a great game there, mostly because of atmosphere. It is a legitimately terrifying game.
I was going to say, all the Shock games I keep hearing I need to go back and play at some point. The 2 System Shocks, the Bioshocks that were inspired by it, and the Bioshock Infinite, which is a
Bioshock Infinite is amazing. I was actually going to, when you were talking about elemental and shooting, I was like, why aren't we talking about Bioshock
Can
right
I get
now?
you to drag me through that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's a good game to actually sit and watch.
Yeah, and it's one of the very few things, is usually, all the stories are formulaic with movies and TV. I had no idea in my mind. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And that doesn't happen. I'm usually, this is the plot. This is the bad guy. I'm not going to tell you who the bad guy is because I know you haven't played it.
Taft.
Oddly, not far off.
Taft. The sexy private dick that gets all the chicks? Taft.
Is that how he cracked that bathtub?
Oh.
Yeah, I know history.
You do. We establish every once in a while you have the startings of a history degree that you never finished.
Philosophy.
Yeah. Okay, so
flip.
Since we didn't do this on the last one, but then we ended up continuing the previous podcast into the next podcast.
This is part 2
of
a 2-part
our
series.
first 2 parts of 17.
Now we're going to talk about the 1990s.
So
you guys remember Unreal?
Let's say,
right.
Yeah, Unreal. I don't know why I just said that.
So let's say that you were going to design your perfect shooter game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have a clue what this would be because my perfect shooter game is Borderlands, but I'm not going to say that now.
You just said that.
I'll actually have to come up with something real. What is, like, if you could just put in any elements of any of the shooters or RPGs or anything you want in there, what would you say is like your ideal shooter?
Since we were just talking about Bioshock Infinite, I'm just going to say Bioshock Infinite.
No, but you have to make your own.
Okay, so I'm going to take your man on a steamboat.
You're literally just going to rebuild.
Sky.
You're not going to put any effort into this, are you?
Fine, I will. Jeez.
with a gun.
With a gun, and there's a chick that you can call. I don't think they like to be called chicks in 2019.
What's your ideal art?
And you can have multiple guns that you can choose from. Maybe if you like move like a some kind of like a mouse wheel. Like if you click the mouse wheel down, like it changes a gun, and then when you click the left mouse,
it shoots.
Yeah, it shoots. There you go. Yeah,
perfect. And the spacebar opens hidden doors.
You're so fired.
Neither of us are coming back.
Oh, yeah.
You've listened to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Josh Schaefer?
And 1G Lau.
And we will see you next time. Nope, too late. Bye.